Well, hello everybody. This is Brandon, the Little NC Farmer, coming to you today for another something different time here on about the latter part of May, and just a lot going on, guys, in my garden right now. I mean, we're getting y'all saw the video. We got it planted, but I am so excited with my onions. I hope to have a video on that coming up soon, and They, I, guys, I don't know. I was looking up a website, Dixondale, and they're saying that here we're in the intermediate zone. So I don't know. All I know is I can grow Walla Walla onions, and they're considered a short day onion, according to Dixondale. And I've got a fly bothering me out here, but they're considered as a short day onion, and I can grow red weather Weathersfield, I believe it's the right name. Both of those are considered long day onions, not short day, but long day onions. And hopefully I'll do a video on that. They're still green. I've got about 12 to 13 uh, blades to each stalk right now, so they're just about done. But guys, I mean, I'm thrilled to death. I never would have thought I'd have done that. Hopefully I'll have a video on that. So anyway, uh, that's where that's at. Got several little plants coming up. We set our Cherokee tan pumpkins out, and got those growing, and we've got things. I've not got anything coming up that I've planted thus far, uh, but we've got things that we've set out, and they're looking great. Tomato plants, the pepper plants, the beets, they're looking great. And we've got the corn, the beans, and the okra planted, and the squash and cucumbers. So got a lot going on. I'm trying to muddle in my mind where I'm going to put some other stuff. So just a lot going on, and I've got it right here. But I was thinking earlier in talking about my garden and all, not planting anything at the big garden this year. If it is a dry summer, that's probably a good thing, because really I don't have a way of watering it easily. If I had to water that garden, I don't have an easy way of doing it. So it's probably a good thing, guys. So anyway, that's where that's at. But you know, I'm just thrilled to death to be watching things grow of my own. So that's what I love to do. So we're going to get right into our topic today and kind of change gears a little bit. I'll still probably be in the Bible, but I want to talk today about organic versus traditional farming. And is there a difference? And just my thoughts on it. Now, before I say much about this, I want you to understand I don't claim to be any kind of expert on this at all. I'm still learning, but at the same time, I look at this with a open mind, because I realize and understand, guys, there's just things that were promised, but there's no way it can be. And with the help of the book here, I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a moment. But you know, I'm all for being as pure, in our garden uh, as possible, and try to not have, poisons and toxins and things like that put in our soil. And just to give you an example, and I have thought very seriously about doing this at the big garden, there's a strip that runs right under the power line over there. I don't know if you go back and look at some of my videos. Years ago, the power company came through and they sprayed it. And that before I had a garden over there. I mean, there's always been one there, but wasn't nothing planted when they came through, and they just sprayed it. And I don't plant nothing in that spot right there. Really, to be honest with you, nothing comes up. And I have thought about putting some sunflowers, because it's my understanding that sunflowers, I think they're considered as a monocot, and they will help extract any kind of toxins that are in the ground. Help take it out. So I had thought about doing that. And it's still probably not too late to do something like that. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. But, talking about that, and I'm going to be honest with you, occasionally from time to time, I have used 7 dust in my garden. Y'all saw me use that last year just to keep the deer from destroying my peas before I had the fence around them. I mean, I had to do what I had to do just in order to have something. I don't like to. It's not my favorite thing to do to them, but, it is what it is. But with all that being said, I want to talk today about organic garden versus traditional garden as we know it. And let's just look for a moment. Guys, when you go to the grocery store and you see something there that's labeled organic, I'm not impressed by that. To me, it's no different than what's non-organic that you'll pay less for. I think that's just more of a money racket. Now, you might disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not going to disagree with you. If that's all you'll eat, if that's all you'll buy, you go for that. If that's what, you feel safe doing, you feel comfortable doing that, you go for it. But if that's what, you like to do, and you want to, I'm not criticizing people because I understand. We want to keep our food as simple and keep it as clean as possible, guys. I don't have no qualms with that whatsoever. And it's getting harder and harder to do that. But at the same time, I know people, they're religious about it, they will not use commercial fertilizer. Guys, it's just like salt. I mean, they're compounds, they're minerals. And salt's salt. I don't care if it comes from the sea, I don't care if it's mined from the ground somewhere, it's salt. I mean, I know people, they won't eat French fries unless they've been seasoned with sea salt versus, traditional salt. I mean, nitrogen's nitrogen. Whether you get it from manure or whether if it's a synthetic nitrogen, I mean, it's nitrogen. And that plant does not know the difference. But, there's all kinds of arguments on that. I've heard a lot of them over the years. And, that's fine. But I'm not going to get beat out about that. I'm going to use fertilize. I'll buy my 10-10-10, triple 13, whatever. And I've got some 34% nitrogen down there that I'll use on my corn. And, to top dress it with. And, that's just the way I've always did stuff. And I know there's some of you other guys on there, you do corn that way. And I don't have a problem using it because I'm out to push my plants and get all I can off of them and make them grow. But you need to know what plant needs what. And I'm still learning a lot of that, I'll be honest with you. It's just like my onions over there. If you go to Dixondale's website, they give a lot of good information on growing onions. And, one thing that you want to do before they start bulbing, you want to be sure you feed them. They are nitrogen lovers, and they are also water lovers. And guys, they're keeping me busy. I'm just about every day now watering them. And I don't want to just overwater them to the point that they rot or nothing like that, but I am keeping some water to them. But I can look at the blades, they're starting to turn yellow, so it's not going to be long on that. But, it's things like that. Corn is another nitrogen lover. To be honest with you, I don't think you can get enough to it. Sometimes it seems that way. But they love nitrogen. Now you take your beans, your okra, peas, things like that, or field peas, I mean, they tend to probably, well, the peas do, they can actually fix nitrogen issues. Peas can actually, field peas can actually put nitrogen back in your soil. And, you know, I know a guy that built a house, it's been several years ago. This is how I learned this. And he had peas just sowed all around his house out there before, this was while it was still in construction. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal with that? And he said, well, he said, I've been told that peas will actually increase the nitrogen in your soil. And clover is another good one to do that too. But see, you learn little things like that over the years. And it's learning how to understand what God has given us and to use it so that it will make things function like it's supposed to. And there's a lot of lost information, guys, concerning that we ought to be trying to learn now as much as possible. And just say for instance, we cannot go buy fertilizer. What would we do? And, I've got a compost pile down here in my backyard. I've had it for several years. My grass clippings, my mower, y'all seen video on it. It bags the grass. It goes in a pile down here. Leaves go in that pile down here. Any brush or anything, that I cut, it goes in that pile down there. And the clippings off my hedge bushes and stuff around here, it gets ground up. I just rake it out in the yard, pick it up with my mower, and it gets ground up and it goes down there to rot. And guys, I'll put that, and hopefully I can show you a video later on. I'll put some of that around my tomato plants. I've done it around the cucumbers, the squash, things like that. And even around watermelons, cantaloupe. And guys, it will make those things jump. And it's knowing what makes your plants grow. But with that being said, I also want to bring this point up. Your location, your geographical location, has a lot to do with what you're growing and how you grow. See, I can take my practices that I use right here, and if I took them, say, I wouldn't have to really go that far. If I just took them to the mountain region of North Carolina, chances are they probably would not work. They have a different type of soil there. They have a lot more rock. They have a lot more hills. The weather is different. So many things go into play, and you've got to understand that. What works for me is probably not going to work for you. And, you have to, there's even things that I do here at this place that would not work at my mom and dad's where I grew up. And that's about 20 minutes from here. So, it's a lot of things like that that you take into consideration in growing a garden. But with all that being said, getting back on topic, the organic versus traditional farming, where we use Miracle Grow, or whether you use fertilizer, 10-10-10, triple 13, or these other minerals and supplements that you can get. Nitrogen's another one. I know a lot of people, they increase their phosphorus on a lot of their plants. Other things, I know years ago when I worked in the dye house, we could get ammonium sulfate, and plants love that too. Tomato plants, I found, really love that. And what it done for them, it's almost like putting Epsom salt. Epsom salt is another one that I use on my tomato plants quite a bit. And I think I showed that in one of my videos or mentioned it recently. But with all that being said, guys, concerning organic, and I want to say something, and please don't misunderstand me, but guys, it is impossible to have something pure, organic, and free from any kind of chemical. And you might disagree with me here, I don't know. But guys, around here, the past week, there's been nothing but trails all in the sky. I mean, it's been about every day. Today, I'm just seeing just regular cumulus clouds. I don't see none. Today's Sunday, matter of fact, that I'm making this. I wonder if they take a break on that. And then, first thing tomorrow, you'll see them again. So, you know, I used to look at that and I was real skeptical of it. I didn't think there was nothing to it. But guys, the more I watch this, the more I'm convinced there is something going on with it. You might disagree with me on that. That's fine too. But I think there's a lot more to it than what we know. But that stuff that is up there, what goes up must come down. And guess where it lands? It lands on my vegetables. It lands on your vegetables that are growing out here in a traditional open garden. Whether it's a container on your back porch that's open air or what, it gets on. And so guys, that's what I'm saying. It is contaminated. Our soil is contaminated, like it or not. But I want to show you something real quick. I can. In the Word of God, in Genesis chapter 3, when we find the fall of man, in chapter 3, verse 15, he said, I'll put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and in sorrow shalt thou bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. And he shall rule over thee. That's still in the Bible, by the way. I don't know who need to hear that. Somebody needed to. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten. See, he got in trouble for doing what she said. And hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. This ground is cursed. God put a curse on it. And in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth unto thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. And in the sweat of thy face, I don't know where this term sweat of thy brow came from, but my Bible says face. Because my face, not just my brow sweats, my entire face sweats. Shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Now, God put a curse on this thing because of disobedience. And guys, that curse is still here. It has not been lifted. Nowhere from Genesis chapter 3 to Revelation 22 do you find where that curse has been lifted. There is a day, though, that it will be. And we know that, you know, the Bible speaks of the millennial reign of Christ here on earth, or a new heaven and a new earth. And we know that then the curse will be lifted. But right now, that curse is still here, guys. And I don't care how pure, how clean, now don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating to be slouchy and lazy with your garden. You need to keep it as clean. You ought to keep the weeds out. You ought to keep the soil maintained. You ought to keep it amended properly. But guys, I don't care how hard you work, there's still going to be something in it. There's still going to be a little bug that's going to come out of nowhere, and he's going to start eating on your leaves. And there'll be a little worm somewhere that'll start boring in your squash or something like that. And we're going to have to deal with that. And, you know, that just talking about that, guys, that can go to something else. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking about earlier, before I got started, labor. When you look at labor in the Bible, it had to do a lot with growing food. And if you don't work, you don't eat. And nowadays, it's not about just making ends meet. It's about having careers, big careers now. People's got their minds on building up themselves and having nice, nothing against having nice homes, nothing against, having all these things. But when these things take us away from God and rob us of our peace and rob us of all the things that God really, our happiness, our joy, our contentment, when it robs us of, what good is it to have those things, guys? And I mean, I can think of a couple now. I remember growing up, and they was just forevermore. It started out, they had uh, two or three nice automobiles, nothing wrong with that. Not, they were just collector's items. They sat in the garage. They never drove them except on special days. And then it was a boat, and it was a place down at the beach. And I mean, you just turned around, it was just something, something, something all the time. They never got enough. Ended up, the man got cancer, and he died. Never got to, before he was retiring age, never got to enjoy any of this stuff that he had. And I think his wife ended up having to sell a lot of it off just to pay the medical bills and things like that. And guys, I'm not against people having those things. Don't misunderstand what I'm about to say there. But guys, the thing is, I look at how much debt that they were in and how much just money that was thrown away, and they never got to really enjoy it. I know so many people that work, nothing wrong with that, you should work, and then come to the retiring, they retire, and within a year or so after they retire, they're dead. And I don't understand that, but that's just the way life is sometimes. I mean, I think of several people that I've worked with over the years, and that's what would happen. Some even never managed to see retiring age. They left this world before they ever got 65 or whatever. And, but you don't find that in the Bible. Do you realize that? There's no such thing as a retiring age in the Bible. Now I realize people's health gets to the place that they're not able to do like they normally did. And I'm starting to see that little by little. And I was sitting out here on the porch earlier, and I said, I must really be getting old. Because guys, it's warm out here. Last time I looked, it was 86 degrees, and I was sitting in the sun on my back porch. And guys, it was hot, but at the same time, that hot heat felt so good on my bones and on my legs. And I don't know, it just made my body feel good. It's sore, I'm tired, and so I guess I'm just getting old. I don't know any other way to put that. But, so anyway, that's a fact. We're all getting old. That goes right back to the curse, guys. Once that takes place, you know what Adam started to feel when he was in the garden that evening? He started to feel sweat, but also his bones started hurting. He started feeling something he'd never felt. He got tired. His arms got wore out from working, whatever it might have been he was doing. And, guys, we're going to have to labor at it. We're going to have to toil at it. And, but I'm all for making things as easy and simple as possible. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you can, and here's the thing, let me just back up on that, making it as efficient as possible so that it will produce more for less. There's not a thing wrong with that. As long as you're not cutting the quality down of it. That's the biggest thing. But you say, well, I try to buy all organic food when I go to the store. Well, maybe you do. But there's something you don't understand. And you can check me on it if you want to. I don't care what it is. Organic, not organic, or whatever. It's got to meet certain standards before it can reach the consumer's hand. It's going to be treated with some type of foreign substance on it before it gets to your hands. If you're buying it at a grocery store or a big box store, I mean, And the taste, I don't care if it's organic or if it's traditional, it's still not going to be the same as what I can go out here in my garden and harvest myself. The taste is night and day different, guys. It's just like the strawberries that we grow at our farm where I work at. And I had bought some back in March at our local grocery store. They came out of Florida. That's usually when Florida starts having their strawberries to come in. And, you know, I thought, well, I'll get some and try them. And they were okay, but they were almost like green strawberries that had been painted red. And then, guys, when we started getting ours in about the first of this month, guys, I mean, the first thing I noticed was the smell. I mean, you couldn't help but smell them. And not only that, the taste. They were so juicy, so sweet. I mean, and guys, you get started eating them, and yeah, you just couldn't stop. So anyway, and guys, there's a difference. When you grow something yourself, the taste cannot be compared with anything you'll get at the store. I promise you that. So guys, I know it's been kind of mixed up today, but I'd been thinking on that, and you know, thinking about doing a video on that. And don't get so beat up. Don't beat yourself up about organic, non-organic, because guys, it's hard this day and time to say I'm going to be 100% pure organic, because when you're living in a sin-cursed world, there's going to be something on it. Now, with all that being said, to sum up everything I've said, you know, we want to keep our gardens took care of. That includes keeping the weeds to a minimum. And I'm a firm believer in this. If you will properly maintain your garden to keep the weeds out of it, you'll have it to eventually to a place to where the seeds for the weeds are no longer there, and they won't be there to sprout. Now, I believe that. I am a firm believer in that. Matter of fact, I did that before. And properly amend your soil. Now, I don't know how it is in other places, but here in our state, you know, you can, soil tests are free. You can request from our local ag extension office, you can request a little test kit, and you can get your soil together and send it off, and they'll send you analysis in the mail. Of course, nowadays, I don't know, it could even be done online. I hadn't done one lately, but you can get a test done. It don't cost anything, and they'll tell you what nutrients that you need in your soil, what it's lacking, if it has an abundant supply of one thing over the other. And guys, that's good to know. And so if you hadn't ever done that, I recommend that would be something good for you to do for your garden. So guys, I'm going to get off of here today, and still got some other things to do. Plus, this video's got to be edited so that it can be out for y'all to watch. And hopefully I can do some more, and I've got a couple more ideas on some things we're going to do, hopefully here in another day or two. So anyway, guys, y'all have a good day, and we'll try to keep you updated on these gardens, what's going on here, and keep you in the know so that you can see what we're doing here. So guys, y'all have a great day, and thank you from Little NC Farmer.